Hey guys, it's Ross at the Daily Jaws, and in this video we have something very special to share with you. An exclusive interview with Greg Nicotero, the man behind the incredible 7-month restoration of the last remaining Bruce shark that was recently installed at the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures in Los Angeles. We caught up with Greg during the opening of the museum to learn about the restoration and his passion for Jaws.
Okay, so the way that we look at it, when Jaws came out in 1975, the execs at Universal realized they had the biggest hit in the world, but nothing on the backlot tour to represent the movie. So I always figured they pulled the molds out of the original shark, and they had the studio prop department make a fiberglass copy. And this shark was on display at Universal till the mid-90s. So they repainted it a bunch of times, and finally it was retired to a junkyard. So I had known that the shark was at the junkyard for quite a while, but what ended up happening was when I was contacted by the Academy Museum, I said, well, look, I'd be interested in doing the restoration. They had covered the entire shark with this almost like tar. It's like roofing tar, and then they textured it and they painted it. So the first thing we had to do was tear all the outer covering off. And underneath was a fiberglass copy that the studio people had made in 1975. It was in really good shape. It had a bunch of spiderweb cracks in it here and there, but it was ultimately the exact shape of the shark that they had intended to film. So we cleaned all the scratches up, repainted it. I sculpted the inside of the mouth because the shark didn't have an interior of the mouth or the back clasper fins. And I had castings of the original teeth that I got from Joe Alves, the production designer. So we recreated the inside of the mouth and put the whole shark back together. So it took about 7 months. I had a team of about 9 people that worked on it almost every day. You know, Jaws has a really unique place in people's hearts, and especially in film history. You know, just everything about the movie and the shark, which always you hear all these different stories about it. The bottom line is the people that love Jaws still love the artistry that went into it. And I look at this shark as a testament to the will of the filmmakers, to Steven Spielberg, to Bob Matty and the effects guys, everybody involved, because it really was man against the monster, and they won. So to me, I feel like this shark represents everything that's great about the film industry. You had technicians, sculptors, painters, plastics, manufacturing technicians, all these people that came together to do something that had never been done before. And the result was one of the greatest movies of our generation. You know, Jaws came out at the perfect time. There was, the early 70s had a lot of filmmakers, Coppola, Martin Scorsese, a lot of these young directors that were auteurs. And then all of a sudden in the mid-70s, the studios started realizing that they had a lot of power and control of product to get people into the theaters. Jaws ended up being the first movie that was released pretty wide at the time, had a massive ad campaign, and was directed by Steven Spielberg. Great actors, great story, everything about it worked. Music. So I really feel like it was the first time that studios realized, wait a minute, we can make most of our money back within the first couple of weeks, but not only that, create this buzz. You know, I remember standing in line, lines were going around the corner, and that was just unheard of at the time. So it's the movie continues to fascinate people because of the impact that it had back then, and then it just continues to perpetuate. You have young filmgoers that want to see it, and it just really it's unlike any other movie. You know, when I was growing up, I had a fascination with models and miniatures and physical special effects, and I think when I saw Jaws, it changed my perception of film technicians, because it's one thing to build a model or a miniature and either fly it through in front of a green screen and make it look like the Enterprise or Lost in Space or something. But when I realized that there were guys whose job it was to create something that was the size of a bus and figure out how to pull it through the water, figure out how to leap out of the water, the mouth open and close, and to terrify audiences. It completely changed everything about how I looked at movies. I was obsessed with learning about how they made it, probably because I was so terrified that I needed to sort of process my own horror and figure out like how they did it so that it would maybe sort of appease how freaked out I was about it. But the bottom line was that it's a tribute to the filmmakers. Well, it's always fascinating to me because there are movies that have a collective resonance with people, and those movies are very rare. But when they do work, you can revisit them over and over again. And Jaws has created a legacy. It shows that you can have a young director who bucks the odds, who jumps into this project that he probably had no concept of how to do it, or whether they would film it in a tank with miniatures. So it's just really an enduring legacy of filmmaking. Well, I have to say that having the opportunity to restore the shark, to me, is a childhood dream come true. You know, when I was younger, I wanted to build the shark from Jaws. Now I got a chance to firsthand work on it. There's a couple other props that I've acquired, and there's some other things that I would love to restore. I have the original werewolf puppet from The Howling that was made in 1981 by Joe Dante. I have David Warner's decapitated head from The Omen, which was like the first screen decapitation that I ever remember seeing, and was fascinated that they set 5 or 6 cameras up and the way that the piece of glass sort of slit. I mean, all these kinds of stuff that I just was fascinated by. So there's a lot of other projects that I'm excited about doing restoration on, and hopefully they'll be represented here in the museum someday.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you'd like to know more about Jaws, please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok and Twitter, subscribe to the YouTube channel and visit our website thedailyjaws.com. Until next time, we drink to your legs. Farewell and adieu.